श्री स्वामीनारायण भगवान जय, अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराज जय, प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज जय, महंत स्वामी महाराज जय. Last week we saw some aspects of Sahajanand Charitra. We'll be continuing today. It is a very big book and not everything will be included in this summary. Even the points mentioned will not go into detail, otherwise it wouldn't be possible to cover it. So continuing on, Maharaj was in Umret and some local Brahmins had heard about Swaminarayan being called God, and they said that if he can show us a miracle, we would believe him to be God. And they came to Maharaj and said that Shankaracharya had made a buffalo recite the Vedas. If you can make somebody similar to a buffalo recite the Hindu scriptures, then we would believe that you are God. So the local Brahmins brought another Brahmin, dumb Brahmin called Harishankar, and suddenly the boy started speaking the sloks from the Vedas. And then everybody realized that Maharaj is God and they wanted Maharaj to give them Vartman. But then so many people wanted Vartman in the town that it wasn't feasible for Maharaj to meet them individually. So Maharaj went through the village sprinkling water on their houses and saying that whoever's house this water is sprinkled on, they should assume કે વર્તમાન થઈ ગયું છે. એક વખત આત્માનંદ સ્વામી જામનગરની અંદર વિચરણમાં હતા. જામનગર એ વખતે કહેવાતી છોટી કાશી અને ઘણા બધા પંડિત ત્યાં રહેતા હતા. So when they heard that one of the Swaminarayan sadhus has come, they decided to ask him questions. And so they said to him, "What is your form?" Atmanand Swami replied, "Guru Vachan." So these Brahmins thought that he doesn't seem to understand what we're asking. So they asked him, "What is your form?" And he said, "Guru Vachan." And now for Atmanand Swami, Maharajni Yagna Padvi, that was the main thing in his life. So what he knew, he said. So these Pandits ridiculed him and said that, these guys are not educated, they don't know anything. Maharaj જ્યારે જેતલપુર આવ્યા ગ્રાન્ડ યજ્ઞ કરવા માટે, અને આ પ્રસંગની વાત એમને ખબર પડી, પછી એમને પરમહંસને કીધું કે તમે સંસ્કૃત શીખો અને બીજી બધી ભાષાઓ, વ્રજ ભાષા વગેરે. અને પછી આજ્ઞા કરી કે તમે પણ આ બધી કોમેન્ટ્રીઝ ને ટીકા આપણા સ્ક્રિપ્ચર્સ ઉપર લખો. Those who were the singing santos, they were writing kirtans about Maharaj, but none of them knew classical music. So that touch they couldn't get into the kirtans. So Maharaj told the kirtan santos to study classical music, and after that they were able to write thousands of different types of pads in various rags that we have got today from their efforts. મહારાજ જ્યારે જેતલપુરની અંદર હતા અને આ યજ્ઞ કર્યો, એ અહિંસા યજ્ઞ હતો. એ મહારાજને બતાવવું હતું કે યજ્ઞ તો અહિંસા પ્રમાણે જ થવું જોઈએ. જે મિસઇન્ટરપ્રિટેશન હતું શાસ્ત્રોનું એ દૂર કરવા માટે. તો ગ્રાન્ડ મહારુદ્ર યજ્ઞ, 18 days non-violent yajna in Jetalpur. And Maharaj had invited at that time period 100,000 Brahmins from all over Gujarat. And he preached against violence in yajnas. Some jealous Brahmins began to throw the sweets and the ghee into the lake to cause obstacles. કારણ કે મહારાજ એ વાત કરી કે 500 મણ ઘી યજ્ઞ માટે મંગાવું છે. 1 mund is 20 kilograms. That's 500 munds ghee Maharaj had ordered. But because of the protection mechanisms that Maharaj had put in place, these Brahmins couldn't really cause any hindrance and the yajna finished successfully. After the yajna, Maharaj went to Ahmedabad, and these Brahmins who couldn't get their way during the yajna went to the Suba and put some words, say, "Your father has just died, and the reason for that is this Swaminarayan has done a yajna not according to the Shastras. He didn't kill any animals in there. And because of that, your father has died. Now the Suba didn't know much and he believed them. And he got angry and he wanted to kill Maharaj. And he invited Maharaj to his palace. And he had filled a pot, large vessel with boiling oil, put a chair on it, and decorated it and everything, with the intention that Maharaj jare bese ત્યારે આ ગરમ તેલની અંદર પડે. પણ મહારાજ તો અંતર્યામી બધું જાણતા હતા. અંદર આવ્યા અને પછી જે ગાદી હતી એના પર લાકડી અડાડ્યું, પેલું અંદર પડી ગયું અંદર. એન્ડ સુબાનું જે કાવતરું હતું એ બહાર પડી ગયું. એ પછી ગરમ થયા અને મહારાજને કીધું કે તમે અમદાવાદ છોડી દો. મહારાજે કીધું કે કેટલા સમય માટે? કે સુબાએ કીધું કે જ્યાં સુધી પેશવાનો રૂલ હોય ત્યાં સુધી. પછી મહારાજ અમદાવાદથી નીકળી ગયા. એ સમયની અંદર એક લોલંગર નામનો એક બાવો હતો અને ખોખરા મેમદાદની અંદર પોતે રહેતા હતા. હવે એ લોલંગર બાવર ને રઘુનાથ દાસ, જે લાસ્ટ ટાઈમ આપણે સાંભળી કે મહારાજે એમને વિમુખ કર્યા, એને ઇન્સ્ટિગેટ કરી અને મહારાજની વિશે બધી વાતો કરી. એન્ડ લોલંગરે પછી એના શિષ્યને કીધું કે આ પરમહંસને તમે હેરાન કરો. પછી મહારાજે કાઠી દરબારને મોકલ્યા આ પરમહંસની રક્ષા માટે. પછી ભગુજીએ લોલંગરને મારી નાખ્યા અને બીજા કાઠીઓ બીજા બાવાને મારી નાખ્યા અને મહારાજના પરમહંસની રક્ષા કરી. એ વખતે જગજીવન નામનો પણ એક વ્યક્તિ હતો કચ્છની અંદર કે મહારાજના વિરોધી. અને એને મહારાજના વિશે ગ્રજ એટલા માટે હતું બિકોઝ મહારાજ સ્ટોપ્ડ હિમ ફ્રોમ ડુઈંગ એનિમલ સેક્રિફાઇસીસ. એન્ડ what cheesed him off more was that his wife was a proper satsangi, and that he didn't like. So when Maharaj was in Kutch at Sundarji Sutar's house, he was suffering from a blister on his right foot and he was upstairs. At that time Sundarji Sutar also had a fever, and Jagjivan came to inquire and asked where Maharaj was. At that time Maharaj came on the staircase and said, "Here I am." And Jagjivan had called an army to come and instigated them that the Swaminarayan is so-and-so and that he should be removed. And the army came, but when Sundarji Sutar found out that this is happening, he went to the Nawab. And Nawab got angry because Jagjivan had called the army without his permission. So the Nawab sent another army which stopped this particular army. And then there was a fighting ensued and this and that, and Jagjivan was killed and taken away. When Maharaj was in Dabhan once, he did another grand yagna, again 18 days. And again Brahmins in this time period tried to put hindrances by throwing the ghee in the lake, and they kept shouting, ghee is missing out, not enough ghee and all that. Then Maharaj had to put Kati Darbars and trustworthy Brahmins in the kitchen to make sure that these guys don't cause any problems. And Maharaj touched 2 containers of ghee and told the Brahmins to take from there, and he said the ghee will not finish. On the last day, which was Poshi Punam of the Yagna, Maharaj gave Diksha to Mulji Sharma and gave him the name Gunanand Swami, initially Nirgunanand Swami, and then he was changed to Gunanand Swami. And he mentioned that this is my eternal Akshardham, my dwelling place. He constantly sees me and is my most beloved devotee. Once, Harbamji Sutar had come to Maharaj after walking 28 miles and said, Maharaj, ne baat kari ki Jesom, right? Maharaj didn't even look at him. So Harbamji Sutar said to Maharaj, Maharaj, please look at our efforts. We have walked 28 miles to come and see you. Maharaj said that I have come from Akshardham, which is beyond Prakriti Purush and the 8 cosmic layers. And nowhere else have I stopped, but I have come here. And then, I'm making myself visible to you. Harbamji Sutar realized that he has to understand the prapti, and that it is only due to Maharaj's grace that we can come into his samagam, otherwise it's not possible. So compared to his 28 miles, Maharaj's effort coming here was far greater, and that's what Maharaj wanted to show, that prapti we've got is very great. Once in Gadara, Maharaj was sitting there and suddenly a divine light appeared and people had the darshan of Dharmadev. And on the lady's side, a cool red light appeared, and the lady saw Bhakti Mata. And Maharaj says that I live here because you have won me over, and now Dharma and Bhakti will also be staying here. So one Hari Bhakta went out and he saw a man with a cart, and there were 22 murtis in there. So he said to the sculptor that if you bring all these murtis, Bhagavan Swaminarayan will purchase some of them from you. So Maharaj inspected all the murtis, and 2 murtis of Dharma and Bhakti were installed. And Maharaj used to say that whenever I am not in Gadara, you can do the seva of these murtis. Once Maharaj was at Mulji Sheth's house in Limri, and Maharaj saw that some lady was struggling to find her way in the house by just following the wall. And Maharaj asked Mulji Sheth, who is that lady and what's wrong with her? Mulji Sheth said, Maharaj, she's my wife and she's blind. Maharaj said, a lady who is blind has many difficulties to face, looking after the house, cooking the food, cleaning and so on. It can make life quite hard. Mulji Sheth said, yes Maharaj, we've had a very hard life because of this. And Mulji Sheth went to her, and then she said, thank Maharaj for giving me sight. I can see now. So Maharaj gave a vision, and Mulji Sheth went back to Maharaj and prostrated and was very happy that Maharaj has given this gift. Later on in his life, Mulji Sheth left everything and went to Maharaj and served Maharaj as his manager, looking after Maharaj's administrative work. When Maharaj was in Sarampur once, he was staying at Jivakacha's house, Sarampur Jivakacha, and Jivakacha prayed to Maharaj, Maharaj, it hasn't rained, and the animals are suffering, the people are suffering, the crops are drying up. Please do something about this. So Maharaj told Indra to rain, and it rained heavily. And it rained so much that Jivakacha's house began to collapse. So Maharaj tested Jivakacha that, where will you keep me now? Jivakacha said, you can come to my new house and stay there. And then when they went there, Maharaj said, I feel hungry. Now all the wood to light the fire and other things had all become wet. So Jivakacha chopped up his new cot, which was dry, and made some arrangements to cook food, and Maharaj was given fresh food to eat, and Maharaj was pleased with his devotion. At that time Maharaj heard a sound, the please save us, please save us. Now it was raining heavily, nobody could hear this in the noise, but Maharaj heard it. And then Maharaj goes out to the house of Lakha and Deva Patel, and he can see the house is collapsing and the beam is falling down. So Maharaj holds the beam on his shoulder while the animals and the ladies and children exit the building, and then Maharaj comes back to his bed and goes to sleep. Next day, when Brahmachari was bathing Maharaj, he saw this scar on the shoulder. He asked what it is. Maharaj explained, and Maharaj wanted to feed the sadhus because they hadn't had much to eat either. So he tested the devotion of the villagers by going and asking for bhiksha. And even under these conditions, they all gave nice items for the santos to eat. Once Maharaj was in Sabha, and a naked Baba came to see him, and Surakacha spoke rudely to the Baba and sort of ridiculed him. The Baba didn't do anything. He just came to Maharaj, bowed down, offered his obeisance, and then left. Maharaj didn't like this, and he said to Surakacha that you should not use such rude language. Surakacha explained to Maharaj, this is our way of life, this is what we normally speak. Then Maharaj explained the importance of courteous language and this and that, and explained that, do you know who that person was? And then Maharaj explained that was Lord Shankar, who had come for my darshan, and you spoke to him rudely like this. Then Surakacha realized his mistake, and then he went on a horse to the outskirts of the village to see if he could find this Baba, but he was nowhere to be seen. Then when he looked in the sky, he could see Lord Shankar disappearing into the sky. And he took a vow that from now on we will not speak this type of language. Maharaj was in Loya once, and 2 brothers, Bhim and Jivaram Pandya, they became satsangis after seeing the 16 signs on Maharaj's lotus feet. Now, they had lent money to somebody, and it had been many years since this guy hadn't paid them, and he kept putting it off by giving excuses. So this time, the brothers said that we need to collect our money from him, and they went to him. He knew that this is what they would ask, and again he started, I haven't got this, and I'll pay you back, and this and that. And these two brothers saw this young foal horse, and they saw it's very nice. So they said that if you give us this horse, we will write off your debt of 3,000 rupees. Now that came as a shock to that darbar, because for them horses was something that's very close to their heart, and especially to this guy, this horse was very close. But he saw that he couldn't pay off the money, and reluctantly, with a heavy heart, he handed over the horse to the two brothers. The brothers with the intention that they wanted to offer it to Maharaj as a gift. So they went to Maharaj with this manki horse, and Surakacha looked at the horse and said to Maharaj, Maharaj, this horse is of the highest breed, manki breed. And within that, this horse is like top notch. So these two brothers offered this horse to Maharaj. And even before the brothers came, Maharaj said to Surakacha, please bring some kanku and this and that. He said, my Garud is coming. And then when the horse came, Maharaj said that this is my Garud. It has taken birth just to serve me. This is the Manki Gori that we hear about in Satsang. Maharaj predicted that a famine would come, a very severe famine, and he told the Hari Bhaktas that whatever money you have, buy food with it for 2 years' stock. If you don't have enough money, borrow money, but fill your house with 2 years' stock of food. Now those who obeyed Maharaj's wish, they found that during this 2 years famine, they were safe and sound because they had enough food to eat. And it was said that this famine was so severe that if you offered gold, even then you wouldn't get 1 varki of wheat. That's how severe the famine was. And Maharaj protected the Hari Bhaktas by this means. And Lord Shankar also said that adharma is increasing and bad things are going on, and he wants to bring this famine, but he said to Maharaj that your devotees will be protected. Maharaj stressed the importance of saintliness and pure action, and said that that was more important than scholarly knowledge and studies. But he also wanted the people to study as well. Once he asked Gunanand Swami to go to Burhanpur because Gunanand Swami had these saintliness qualities and was pure action. Once he asked Dinanath Bhatt, who had memorized 18,000 sloks of the Bhagavad, that Bhattji, which is a slok you have picked for your salvation? Bhattji didn't have the foggiest about these things. And Maharaj had to explain the canto and then the skand. Still he couldn't figure it out. Eventually Maharaj started saying the beginnings of the slok. Then Bhattji realized, oh yes, this is the one. This is the famous slok that we read in Gadara Pratham 154, Prasang Majaram Pasham. During those times, in festivals, songs were spoken which were sort of vulgar and used abusive language. And Maharaj didn't like this, that during the time of Holi and certain things that were done, actions by the people participating, Maharaj said that we shouldn't be doing these things. These are religious festivals and they should have a spiritual touch to them. And he commanded his Paramahamsas to write beautiful kirtans for the different festivals, which highlight spirituality and love for God and devotion and things like that, which is the kirtans that we sing and hear nowadays during Holi and other festivals. Maharaj once played Ras at Rathod Dadar's house in Saranpur, and at that time he sang one of Kabirji's verses, Koti Krishna Jode Hath, and he touched Gunanand Swami's chest with his stick. And he said that, who is this Sadguru that is mentioned in this song? Paramahansa said, Maharaj is talking about you. Maharaj said, I am the Supreme God. This is talking about a Sadguru, and it is this Gunanand Swami. Maharaj also mentioned that Kabirji, when he was alive, he used to worship this Gunanand Swami as Akshar Brahman. Without knowing, obviously, but his devotion was praying towards Akshar Brahman. The ladies of Gujarat, North Gujarat, asked for a fagwa, and that fagwa was in the form of a prayer, which is a famous one we sing today during full dole. Mahanubhavan Swami came after a long vichran and other santos, and Maharaj had his feet out on the bed. And as Swami came nearby to massage Maharaj's feet, Maharaj withdrew his feet. And then Mahanubhava said, Swami, Maharaj, we have done so much for you, we followed your Yagnas and this and that, still we can't do this seva. Then Maharaj gave the example of a person who did a job which was salary of basically 1 paisa, and yet he was asking 10 kilograms of gold in its place. Maharaj said, that's what you have done. Then the santos realized that the prapti of Maharaj is not easy, and it's because of his grace that we have attained it. Once when Maharaj was in Junagadh, the minister, a Nagar minister, Brahmin, tried to persuade the Nawab that this Swaminarayan is a false and this and that, and he should be punished and so on. But the Nawab wasn't so easily convinced about this, and he allowed the procession in Junagadh to take place. Maharaj was on an elephant, and a grand procession was organized by the Hari Bhaktas. Nawab also came to see, and also that minister. A boy came nearby and offered some cucumber to Maharaj, and Maharaj bent down from the elephant and took the cucumber and just started eating it there when everybody was watching. Again, the minister thought this is an opportunity to show the Nawab that if he's God, then why is he doing such thing? He doesn't have even basic common sense. Nawab said that only God or his angel could eat a cucumber in front of thousands of people watching him. So the Nawab didn't get convinced, and the minister's efforts were failed. That famine that came, that Maharaj had predicted, came in 1869. It was a terrible drought. There was no rain. Towns and villages got deserted as people left to go to some better place where they might find food. Many people and animals died in this thing. And Hari Bhaktas who had listened to Maharaj's command and stocked enough food for 2 years, they were okay. Maharaj also lived incognito in Gadara, and a system had been set up where 3 rooms, and the rooms had labels on them, Gujarat, Kathiawad and Kutch. So if somebody did come and asked where Maharaj is, somebody would say, oh, Maharaj is in Gujarat at the moment, or he's in Kathiawad, or he's in Kutch. So he'd be in one of those rooms, but because the label was there, they were saying right, but those people understood that Maharaj was in that particular area. After the end of the famine, during the famine, Maharaj had given for 1 year Paramahansas a vrat of khatras. And because of this, they had become very weak. Some had lost their eyesight because of malnutrition and things like that. And at Mamaya Patka's house in Kundar, seeing the Paramahansas like this, Mamaya's mother was quite, saddened to see this thing, and said to Maharaj, please stop this khatras vrat and feed your santos. Maharaj was pleased with her devotion, and now that the drought had gone, and times were improving, and greenery was returning, Maharaj told the Paramahansas to stop this khatras vrat, and he fed them very well and started bringing the health back up again. Once when Maharaj was in Jalia, he invited illness at Hari Takka's house. He refused to eat or anything. He had no food for 13 days. And suddenly one night he asked for penda, barfi and jalebi. Now in that particular village none of this was available. So Hira Thakkar had to send a fast horse, somebody on a fast horse, to Bhayavadar and brought fresh garam jalebi from there for Maharaj. And Maharaj started eating this. People requested Maharaj that if you continue with this illness, it saddens Hari Bhaktas, you need to be in good health and so on. Then Maharaj says, if you bathe me with cold water, and the water goes all the way to the river Venu, when it reaches there, I'll be cured. So ladies started bringing water from the river. Now the water was cold. And Bhaguji saw that if we wait until the water reaches the river, Maharaj will become even more ill by having a cold water bath. So he put a small pot under Maharaj's stool, and as Maharaj was bathed and that pot became full, he sent somebody who took that pot to the river and poured it in. And when Maharaj asked, has the water reached the river? Bhagu said, yes Maharaj, water has reached the river. Maharaj said, stop there, now I am cured. Once Maharaj kept Paramahansas with him for 8 months in Loya, Nagarka and Panchala, in which are in those 3 villages for 8 months. And daily he spoke to them about his supremacy and other things like that, the Prapti, and that he is the Supreme God and so on. Then he told them that you go to Vichran now and spread this discourse and inform the people. So the Paramahansas split up and they went to village talking to people and this and that. And after they came back, Maharaj asked that how did you describe us? Some said that Maharaj, we described you as this avatar or that avatar. Some said that Maharaj, we described you as Dattatreya, as Kapil or this or that. Then Maharaj said that you are as dumb as doves. I spoke to you for 8 months about this thing and still it couldn't fit inside you. Maharaj said if a person has eaten radishes and this and that and those food, dudpak and so on, if they eat muro, then the odkar coming is of the muro. And Maharaj said that tamne odkar ayo જ નથી મારી વાતોનો. Then the Paramahamsas realized their mistake and apologized. Maharaj went to Dharampur at the behest of Kushal Kuvarba, and he stayed there for some time. She offered a grand reception, offered gifts at his feet, and he said to her that we have come here from Akshardham to liberate the Jeeves. Kushal Kuvarba sent some rice, fragrant rice, perfectly peeled and pure, and Maharaj showed this to the audience and said, okay, what do you do? What is this? Everybody said rice. And Maharaj said it 2 or 3 times. Then Santosh asked him, Maharaj, what do you mean to say by this? Then Maharaj said, the way this rice is flawless and intact, that is the way I want to make you. I want to make you pure and take you to Akshardham. When Maharaj was in Vartal celebrating the Full festival, there were 2 mango trees next to each other and the branches were overlapping. Gunanand Swami had built a hindora with 12 doors on there, and Maharaj stood at the door and kirtans were sung and so on. And then suddenly everybody saw that Maharaj had taken 12 forms and stood at each door. So all Haribhaktas at 360 degrees could have the darshan of Maharaj. And that was a divine experience for them in Gnanbag, in which this festival was held. And then Maharaj, all the 12 forms merged into one, and then Maharaj came out of the hindora. In Nagarka, when Maharaj was there, there was this pony who had a bad nature that anybody who touched him would kick. Maharaj said, I want to remove this swabhav. So he sat there with the stool touching the stick, the horse's feet with the stick, and the horse would kick, touch, kick. And then somebody came to Maharaj, it is time to eat. Maharaj said, if you keep touching, I will go. So that person continued. Maharaj came back again. And by evening, its swabhavs had been removed. Maharaj then said that if you have bad habits, you must overcome them. Otherwise, God will force you to give them up, like Maharaj forced the horse to give up its bad habit of kicking. Once Maharaj was there and some Vedant Acharya came and he wanted a scriptural debate. So Maharaj asked him to interpret the 12 precepts of the Vedanta. But he could not counteract Maharaj's logic and argument and this and that, and he felt defeated, and he was egoistic. And he left and he became angry. He went to Nadiyad, and when he was there, he started talking bad about Maharaj and this and that. So Maharaj sent Nityanand Swami to have a debate with him. When he found that Nityanand Swami is coming, he left Nadiyad immediately. Maharaj went to Ahmedabad after the British rule, and Bishop Andrew Dunlop, the collector, had invited him and said that any help you need from us for your spiritual activities, do not hesitate. In Anand, Haribhaktas had called Maharaj. Maharaj said, there were problems there. People insulted. Maharaj told Haribhaktas to remain quiet. And eventually citizens of the town realized their mistake and apologized to Maharaj and said, Anand is open to you. Maharaj had also appointed Sadguru Santos to look after the Sampradaya as it was growing. So he initially appointed 4 Sadgurus and then 8 to a total of 12, and split the region up into 12 and told the Haribhaktas and Santos to, this is the Sant for your region, please live according to his commands, and they would say the commands that Maharaj had given them. Once when the Santos got together, they addressed themselves as Muktanandi, Brahmanandi, Nityanandi, and sat in their respective groups. Maharaj saw that groupism is being created, and then he asked, who is Sahajanandi? Then everybody realized their mistake, that we should not have a group like this, it's just for administrative purposes. In Karyani, Maharaj explained to Gopalan Swami his 6 objectives. Nishkaran Swami heard and wrote them down. In Loya, he did a Shakotsav, the famous one, and 5 months of brinjals and 12 months of ghee were used. Eventually, because as Paramahansa's behest, Maharaj's family came, Icharam and Rampratap, but Maharaj wasn't really keen on meeting them, and he mentioned that we do not have any relationships after giving up this world. In Panchala, he took on an illness, and people said that, Maharaj, if you take on this illness, what will happen to the Sampradaya? You haven't built any mandirs yet. Muktanand Swami said this thing, no scriptures have been written. Then Maharaj got rid of his fever, and then we know that these other mandirs and things were built. Shri Swami Narayan Bhagavan Ni Jai.